thrown in a cistern is this man about 60 years old, and they throw him in there with this mud. And, Flavius Josephus, the Jewish historian, said that the mud covered up to his top of his mouth, where he had to keep his head up. And Epic Malik, remember that, it means my servant hears. That's what his name meant. And he goes and throw ropes in this cistern and pulls Jeremiah up, put rags under the ropes so it wouldn't affect his armpits. And he pulls Jeremiah out of this cistern. And some believe that Jeremiah was praying this when he was in this cistern. In verse 52, he says, my enemies, without a cause, hunted me down like a bird. They silenced my life in the pit and threw stones at me. The waters flowed over my head, and I said, I am cut off. And this is what he did in the midst of all that. I called on your name, O Lord, from the lowest pit. You have heard my voice. Do not hide your ear. Notice he said, do not hide your ear. He didn't say, do not hide your face. Do not hide your ear from my sighing, from my cry for help. You draw near on the day I called, and and said, do not fear. O Lord, you have pleaded the cause of my soul. You have redeemed my life. O Lord, you have seen how I am wronged. Judge my case. It says that he was praying that in that cistern. In a dungeon, the dungeons of life. How many of you ever been in the dungeons of life? Raise your hand. And when you don't know what to do, you hurt. You've been trying to obey the Lord. You've been trying to do right. And somehow God takes you through the crucibles of life. He takes you to a place where it's almost like salt and and pepper shakers, where it just seems like he's just throwing you all out of everywhere. And you're like, Lord, what did I get this for? I don't even deserve this. And somehow God, in the midst of all this, when Jeremiah was going through what he was going through, this Ethiopian eunuch had no had no business in the temple precinct, because eunuchs wasn't allowed in the temple precinct. He goes to King Zedekiah. Zedekiah gives him 30 men, and they drag Jeremiah out of this pit. When they take him out of the pit, Jeremiah, in Lamentations, he writes commentary about what happened in the pit. They silenced my life in the pit, and they threw stones at me. And when I was in that pit, the Lord still heard me. Don't think for 1 minute that the Lord don't see everything you see, but he sees it a little bit better because he's outside of time. Remember that. Always remember that God is outside of time. So the things we think about in a time frame, he's outside of time. He sees the whole picture. He sees all of your pain. He sees all your suffering. He sees all your hurt. He sees all your worries. He sees all your anxieties. He sees all your cares. He sees everything that bothers us to the deepest parts. He sees all of those things. And Jeremiah said, I called on your name, O Lord, from the lowest pit, at the lowest part of my life. You have heard my voice. Do not hide your ear from my sighing, from my cry for help. You draw near on the day I called you and said, do not fear. And God says there are some things that brings about fear and anxiety in our lives. And you know what you're supposed to do with that? You're supposed to cry out to the Lord. And cry out to the Lord and say, Lord, this is what's really bothering me. And if we would be honest with God like that, Lord, this is what really bothered me. You need to fix my wife, or something like that. Or you need to change my kids, or you need to, and the little do we know, the more we say those things, the Lord is saying, you know what? I'm just trying to let you see me. And these are the means that I am doing it. I'll use these things, but I'm only using these things that you would draw near, that you would come close. It's not your mate I want to fix. It's not your children I want to fix. It's just you. You haven't cried out to me enough. I miss you. So I'll use these things so you can come and start coming to me on a regular basis and start having communion with me. I only use these things for that because I want you. I want you, not your gifts, not your talents, not your human intellect, not your human ingenuity, not your understanding. I just want you. I want fellowship with you. And all those things around us are God's means of drawing us to him. Somehow he draws us to us in those things. And so tonight, if you're broken and you say, I would tell people what's really going on, but nobody don't really care. Oh, no, that's not true. I would really tell people they're going to say I'm a wimp, or you stop. Oh, come on, snap up your boots, tie up your boots and keep on going. No, sometimes you can't tie up your boots and keep on going. Sometimes you do have to cry. But weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh. It keeps coming in the morning.